Star Wars Tarkin Massacre Explained. What did Grand Moff Tarkin do on Ghorman? And Season 2 just introduced a fascinating change to one of Star Wars' most gruesome stories, the Ghorman Massacre. Given Season 2's place in the Star Wars timeline, which runs from 4 BBY to just before Rogue One, a Star Wars story, many anticipated that this second and final season of the show would include this brutal massacre that took place during the Dark Times. So far, Star Wars movies and TV shows have not depicted this event on screen. In fact, up until now, the Ghorman Massacre was primarily explored in legends. It remained to be seen how exactly this event would play out in Star Wars canon. Yet, several hints have been dropped that this event is about to be depicted in Season 2, which has only increasingly proven true given the focus on Ghorman in Season 2's first 6 episodes. It may not be exactly what audiences are expecting, though, as Season 2 has evidently made a massive change to the Ghorman Massacre in Star Wars Legends. The Ghorman Massacre actually took place considerably earlier on in the Star Wars timeline than it evidently will in Andor. Whereas Season 2 begins in 4 BBY and then moves forward in time by 1 year between each 3-episode arc, in Legends, the Ghorman Massacre took place in 18 BBY, meaning it occurred not long after Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith and the Formation of the Empire. At this time in Legends, various protests were taking place, pushing back against the Empire's newfound power. One such protest took place on the planet Ghorman, and when Moff Tarkin was sent in to deal with the demonstrators, tragedy struck. With little regard for the lives on Ghorman, Tarkin landed his ship right on top of the protesters, who had been blocking the landing pad, refusing to move. This led to a staggering number of deaths, and very few who were participating in the protest made it out alive. It was following this event that the delegation of 2000, which has only really been shown on screen in Revenge of the Sith's deleted scenes, initiated rebel activity that would eventually turn into the Rebel Alliance. Based on this alone, it was evident that Andor was not going to be able to keep this story beat for beat, as it would be taking place much further along in the Dark Times. Yet, it seems Season 2 is about to make changes to more than just the timing of this tragedy. Although it's true that the Ghorman Massacre hasn't yet been depicted on screen in Star Wars canon, this event has been mentioned. In Star Wars Rebels, it was confirmed that an event on Ghorman led Mon Mothma to defect from the Imperial Senate in 2 BBY. As mentioned, this already meant a significant change to the Legends version of the massacre based on the timing alone. This also meant some major changes to the story, though, given in Legends, the Ghorman Massacre was a catalyzing event for the rebellion in many ways. Based on what was revealed in Rebels, the canon Ghorman Massacre instead takes place not long before the original Star Wars trilogy, and thus towards the Empire's end. This raises additional questions about Tarkin's involvement in this event in canon, and Season 2 has a shocking answer. Although it's clear the Ghorman Massacre won't look the same in canon as it does in Legends, Season 2 has revealed that the massacre from Legends is canon. It just doesn't have the same name. Specifically, Season 2 Episode 4 made reference to the Tarkin Massacre, suggesting that the Legends version of the Ghorman Massacre did happen, but it's distinct from the Ghorman Massacre about to unfold in Andor. In addition to this being a major change in Star Wars, it also raises massive questions in terms of the story of the Empire. Presumably, based on the name alone, Tarkin carried out an attack on protesters similar to the Legend story. At present, it's unclear what that means for Tarkin's involvement in this impending massacre and, if not Tarkin, who may be at the helm of the Ghorman Massacre in Andor. This also has interesting implications for the history of the rebellion, given this was such a key event in Legends and initiated rebel activities. It remains to be seen what exactly the Ghorman Massacre will entail in Season 2, but it's clear that Star Wars is changing this event's history.